Hey guys, it's Jill, and I am back again today with another market update for you. It is today, April 22nd, and there has been just a little bit of activity going on, nothing quite as dramatic as the week before. Seems like we are somewhat settling into a new normal, but we are still showing big year-over-year declines in these charts. So this chart that we have here is a year to year, comparing the last week's data to the same week in years past. So taking a look at this, you can see this past week compared to the weeks prior, those are just so dramatic declines, especially in the listing side of things, which is going to set us up for some interesting times down the road, because we already had pretty significant lack of inventory anyway, and just seeing these declines, it's going to be interesting to watch and see how things play out. But for new listings, we were down 1,337 units, which is a 58% decrease to the same time last year. Pending sales dropped by about 1,100, which is roughly a 56% decline from last year. And then closed sales dropped from 1,390 in 2019 to 1,041 in 2020. Surprisingly still, that is a 25% decrease. And those closed sales are actually representing activity around or slightly before March 20th activity. So that was even before the shutdown really took place. So we were already seeing some fear coming into play and declining in the transactions. So this just is a quick look at the week-to-week data. Still, it's pretty obvious the declines, particularly with the listings. With the exception of this 1 week here, we've seen a pretty steady decline week over week. So again, this is likely to just exacerbate that problem moving forward, especially as buyers start to come back into the market. In the months to come, we're likely to not get listings that we would have otherwise gotten just because of COVID and the concerns of having people in your house and things like that. So it's going to be creating some pretty significant challenges for buyers. So right here, again, this is the showing data from Showing Time for all of RE Colorado. And as you would expect, we've basically flatlined here at about a 94% decrease in showing activity from the peak this year, which was this time frame right here between March 9th and 11th. So not much of a surprise in this data, with the governor putting a hold on showings, not considering them essential business. You would expect that we would have some pretty dramatic declines. But luckily, it does look like we'll be reopening those showings beginning on Monday the 27th of April. Although I don't expect to see a big jump in activity that first week, I think as people start to warm up to the idea of being out and about again, I do think that we'll see some pretty big increases, maybe in week 2, week 3, moving forward. But I'm personally not expecting to see a dramatic increase that first week, although it would definitely be a welcomed surprise for most people that have listings on the market right now. So here's a quick look at the median close price, the median days in the MLS. Those have had no change from the last data. What we have here is the current labor statistics for the current, excuse me, sorry about that. The labor statistics for the month of March, and here going back to January, just kind of showing the change in the unemployment rate. So in Colorado, for March, we did more than double the unemployment rate to 4.5% from February, where we were at 2.5%. Looking over here, based on this data, we are going to be expecting an even more dramatic increase in the unemployment rate based on the data showing here for the first 2 weeks in April. Those combined are significantly more than the last 2 weeks of March. In addition to that, the unemployment system was opened up for sole proprietors, independent contractors, and the self-employed on Monday, April 20th. So that's not even reflected here in this data. We know that there were some significant number of claims that were opened, I believe just in the first day alone, there was roughly 15,000. So we're likely to see the month of April to post some pretty significant growth in the unemployment rate overall. But looking forward, if the stimulus helps as intended, we should start to see a positive change in these numbers. Hopefully, we will start to see either a leveling off or a decline in the initial claims, and then preferably a decline in the ongoing claims as well. That would signify that things are, maybe even if slowly, going to be getting back onto the right track. So as of right now, that's all that I have for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This is my contact information right here. I think in the weeks to come, we're going to start seeing some hopefully some positive changes in the data, although it might take some time to kind of filter through and get people back being willing to go back out to look at houses. But overall, I think that there's probably been some pretty significant pent-up demand. And so those that have had houses on the market are probably going to be looking at, in the coming weeks at being in a pretty good situation in terms of getting offers. But again, if you have any questions on whether or not it's a good time to list or buy, feel free to give me a call, or any questions on the data that we've just looked at. Take care, stay safe.